I made 5 crucial mistakes that lost me thousands of dollars when I started in sales. In this video, I'm gonna share those 5 mistakes with you specifically. And if you learn from these mistakes, you will succeed much faster. And let's face it, you can't live long enough to make all the mistakes anyway. Now, real quick, make sure and watch until the very end, because number 5 is probably the most important mistake that most people make that you can fix immediately and rocket your sales. So let's jump right into mistake number 1. Mistake number 1 is super simple. Most people do not ask the right questions. For example, when I started specifically, a lot of questions that I would ask were in the very beginning of sales calls. And most of the time I would ask, hey, how's the weather? Where are you from? How are you doing today? All of these different questions really don't matter. And then in the middle of the sales call, when I would ask a question, I was really trying to figure out where they were at and what they wanted. And that was super important in the context of the call. So I would ask, what is your goal? Good question, right? Yes, that is a good question, except when they followed and I asked follow-up questions. Most people would answer, yeah, my goal is freedom and to travel. And when I was starting in sales, I would ask stupid questions after that. I'd be like, oh, cool. So your goal is freedom and you definitely want to travel. Where do you want to travel to? Oh, why that place? You really like that place for what reason? None of those matter. Those questions do not matter. Where they want to travel doesn't matter whatsoever, because it's not getting you any closer to where you're trying to get to in the call, and it's not getting them any closer to their actual goal. You have to understand that if you're asking questions just like this, it's no different than this person going to a bar with their friend and they're asking the same thing. Oh, cool. I know you want to travel, but where do you want to go? Why Switzerland? Oh, so you can snowboard? Why do you want to snowboard? Those are dumb questions because they don't get any closer to the real goal and actually the real action that they need to take, right? That is super, super important. You need to be different than all of the people around them, all of their friends. You need to actually get a step closer. Okay, cool. So this is your goal. This is what we're going to do to hit it. And I'm actually going to give you an example of how to do it right now. In the beginning of a sales call, rather than asking them, how was your day? How's the weather outside? Questions that don't matter, you need to set the tone of that call. And you need to do this for 2 reasons. Number 1, so you can take charge of that call, but most importantly, so you can show that person that you're professional and you're here to make them win. Now, the question you're probably asking is, how do you set the tone of the call? Super simple. Hey, welcome in. I'm so glad that you are on this call today. In this call, it's going to be about 30 to 45 minutes, and I'm going to ask you a few questions to see where you're at, where you want to go, and if we can actually help you, right? And then my job by the end of this call is to make sure you have an action plan to actually go do what it is that you're wanting to accomplish. Does that sound good? That is a much better opening than saying, how's the weather today? Where are you from? Much better, because it sets the tone, and then you can get into the questions right after. After you've set the tone, you then can build rapport, aka a friendship. That's what rapport is basically building a relationship with that client. And how you do this is by asking the right questions that get you one step closer to what you're wanting, them one step closer to what they're wanting, and of course, asking good questions. For example, a great question to start everything off with is, why did you reach out to us? What made you actually get on this call today, right? You've already set the intention, and this question specifically really dives in to why they're there. Another great question for this is, what do you do for work? That's a really key question for you, because if there's no qualification before the call, you're going to be able to qualify them immediately. Do they have a job? If they have a job, how much money do they make? Do they have the spending power to actually make their dreams come true? And then of course, the last opening question that you can use is, what are you really looking to get out of this call today? What do you want? This is one of my favorite questions, because this specifically is asking them, what are you wanting out of this call so I can give it to you, rather than going through a bunch of crap that you don't care about. Super important. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and move to mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is most people, including myself when I started, talk too damn much. In other words, this mistake is not listening. There's multiple times in different sales calls and in person when I was at the car dealership that I would make this mistake. I would cut people off. I would talk way too much about the product or the service that I was selling, and a lot of the information that I was giving did not matter. And I had to self-reflect in this and realize, why am I not selling this person? Why is this person kind of annoyed with me? Why are they rolling their eyes? Why are they crossing their arms? And it became apparent that it's because I wasn't listening to them and what they wanted. It was all about me talking. And that is a super, super big mistake that a lot of people make when they start sales. So how do you do it right? You have to take your ego out of it first, okay? You have to understand that no matter what, the customer is always right. That's one of the biggest steps to take to actually start to listen. And then you have to ask yourself these questions. When they're talking to you and they're telling you their goals, they're telling you a bunch of different areas of their life, you have to help understand for yourself so you can make a sale. Here's how you do that. Why do they think the way they do right now? Okay? When somebody's talking to you and you're listening, kind of ask these questions to yourself instead of talking. How did they grow up? What was their childhood like? Why is this such a big goal for them? And why did it take this long to get here? How can they make this happen? They told me their goal. They told me they wanted this. Okay? How can they make it happen? And where do I come into this? And you can just run these through your head instead of asking them out loud. Just listen, understand, say, hey, this is your goal. This is where it came from. This is what you've been doing the entire time for your whole life. How can I help you? How can I serve you? That's what you're trying to look for whenever you're listening. And a big thing is if you have all of these questions and you're asking the right questions, if you listen, people will tell you everything you need to know to make the sale. Just listen. That's it. It's very simple. With that being said, let's jump into mistake number 3. And it's actually a direct correlation with mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 that a lot of salespeople that I've seen make, and I made at the very beginning as well, is being all about the commission instead of service. For example, when I started at the car dealership, somebody showed me their monthly check and I was like, holy crap, I want to make that. I want to make more than that. That is amazing. That would change my life. So in the beginning, all I cared about was the money, not the person. And that caused me to not listen to anything, to really just talk a whole bunch. And most importantly, it caused me to lose a lot of sales because I didn't care about the person in front of me. I just cared about the paycheck. Now that bit me in multiple different ways whenever I just cared about the paycheck and not the person. But the way it bit me the most was whenever I was talking to someone and kept talking and kept talking, kept trying to put too much pressure on somebody. Okay, this is where pressure selling kind of comes from. People care all about the commissions and not about the person, so they just try and go, go, go. And when I did that, people would get up and leave. Some people on sales calls on the online, they would just end the call and be like, this is too much, right? Because all I cared about was the money instead of them. I didn't listen to them, and I definitely didn't care about what their goal was. That was a super big change that I had to make in order to not only make more commissions, but actually help people. Now, how do you fix that and how do you do it right? The number one thing that you need to understand is you are talking to a human being. You're not talking to a dollar sign, and you're definitely not talking to a robot. You're talking to a human. You need to understand their pains, their needs, and what they want, because at the end of the day, it's about them, not about you. And then after that, when you listen, right, you can serve them for exactly what they are wanting rather than what you are wanting. And one of the best quotes I ever heard for this, and was actually told by my sales manager, is if you want $1 million, you have to treat people like $1 million first. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into mistake number 4, which is tonality. Okay, a lot of people don't even know anything about tonality, but it's really, really important. And so many people make this mistake. I've seen it when I'm training people. I've also seen it in coworkers, and I've even done it myself. So I had a person that I was training on our sales team, and it was funny because he was super monotone. He didn't really change anything. He was just really, really monotone and really focused on, yep, this is what I'm trying to say. I'm definitely going to listen, blah, blah, blah. But the problem with that is that monotone that he was using at that time had a really negative effect on a lot of the customers that he was speaking with. And it was funny because some people would really dive deep and they would share their emotions with him and how they feel about this specific goal that they're trying to reach and how it's been holding back for so long. And he would just be like, okay, that makes sense. So next question, right? And it was super monotone, and it really sounded like they just did not care. He didn't care whatsoever about their situation. And it really messed with a lot of the customers. And some of them even ended up leaving the call because of just his tone. And it's funny because you have to really understand that tonality is key. For example, if you're going into a sales call and somebody's telling you something sad and then you get excited and say, wow, that's crazy, they're going to be like, what the heck is wrong with this dude? Because at the end of the day, what your tonality is decides, especially in a person's mind, whether you care or you don't. If they say something sad and your tonality is super soft and understanding and caring, they're going to listen to you and respect you and probably pay you way, way more likely than if you're getting super excited when they say something sad, or you're being super monotone like you don't care. So how do you fix that? This is something that's super, super important to train, but it's very easy. The same way that you're talking, right? Let's say you're monotone, for example. If you're monotone and you're just specifically talking customers and all that good stuff, how are you going to talk to the person that you love the most? most? Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's you're engaged to somebody, maybe whatever the case may be. How are you talking to them when they tell you sad news? How are you talking to them when they tell you something super exciting and super happy? You probably end up matching that tone. And if you don't and you're still monotone because you're kind of weird, then what you need to do is you need to really focus on that. Listen to people's tone. If they're sad, they're gonna kind of lighten up a little bit, just like this. Just try and match the tone, okay? Some people get super excited and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I have this huge goal and I'm gonna accomplish it, right? Match that tone, match that energy. That will help you a lot, and I promise you it'll get you way more sales if you just focus on that tonality. And mistake number 5. This is the most important of mistakes in my opinion, because this is what people get wrong the most. But before I get into it, real quick, make sure hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this so far, because I'm trying to grow this channel and get more people in an understanding of sales, so that way they can actually talk to people, get what they want, and of course change the world and make it a better place, because there's too much pressure in sales. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into mistake number 5. Mistake number 5 is presentation. Most people's presentation is hot garbage. Most people don't know how to present when they're trying to sell the product or the service, okay? They have no idea what to do, how to say it. And the interesting part is when we train a lot of people, they either have an offer sheet if they're in online sales, or they have a physical product that they're selling and pointing out all the features in their presentation. Let me tell you something. Each person wants a very similar thing, but they want it a different way, right? Most people want freedom and most people want to be able to travel the world. Duh, because that's awesome. But how do they want to get there? Because everybody is different in that situation, okay? You need to figure that out as a salesperson, and that's based on questions. Once you figure that out with your questions, you need to present it in that way. Let's say I have an offer sheet right in front of me, right? If I'm going through an offer sheet specifically, and I'm saying, yeah, we offer this, and we offer this, and we offer that, you're gonna be like, dude, shut up. I don't care about any of that. I don't want any of that. I don't care what you have to offer. I wanna know if you can do it the way that I want. That's how people think. And most of the time, they'll tell you, I don't have enough money, I don't have this. They'll just give you a random objection that's completely fake. Most of the time, it's because you're not giving them what they want. Super important. So when you're asking questions, this comes all back to listening. You need to listen and help them with their navigation of everything, right? When you listen and they say, yes, I want this, and this is why I'm on the call today. This is what I'm hoping to get out of the call. With my goal, I want to accomplish it this way. Perfect. I'm taking note every single time they say something like that. Then when I get to my presentation and my offer sheet, I've highlighted all the stuff that I previously asked questions on. And I'm like, so we obviously offer a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not going to bore you with all that. I'm just going to give you exactly what you're looking for, which is this. We have this, this, and this. Now, you told me specifically in the beginning of this call that you wanted it this way. We actually happen to do that. That shows, number one, that I was actually listening to them, and number two, most importantly, that they're here and they're getting what they want. Super important, okay? That's how you make a presentation right. You need to personalize it to that specific person. When you do that, you will triple your sales alone just from changing this. Let's say you're monotone, you don't have a good tonality. Let's say you're asking okay questions, but not the greatest questions. If your presentation is on point and it's actually tailored to that person, you will make more sales without a doubt, okay? So if you're starting in sales, I hope this was a big help for you. And if you're trying to get into sales and you're trying to figure out who can teach me right and all that stuff, I've got you, okay? We've actually got a link down in this description below, and it's a free class. All you have to do is click on it, watch it. We'll give you a totally free training. And then if you decide that you want to make the move, it's less than a large Domino's pizza right now because it's on sale. So it's only $17. If you want to sign up, you will get all the personalized training, make sure everything's for you. You'll get a whole bunch of modules, all that good stuff. So make sure if you want that, you click on it in the description below, and I will see you inside that community very soon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure and hit that like and subscribe button, and I hope this was super valuable for you.